I don't know about you guys, but I really can't sleep right now, and it's after midnight, and there's only one thing that I can think of that will give me a certain elevation, a certain joy before going to bed. Get your heads out of the gutter. I am talking about One Piece. I have been so excited to dive back into the world of One Piece ever since reading it for the first time. It has been over 2 weeks since I last dived into the amazing world of One Piece, and I've been really feeling the withdrawals, honestly. And if you don't know, I have fallen head over heels. I will link the original East Blue Saga vlog down in the description box if you haven't yet checked that out. I would definitely recommend watching that first before watching this one. I had so much feedback from that vlog, and honestly thank you so much for showing that vlog so much love and for all the amazing comments helping me with my One Piece journey. I really do appreciate it. I really took aboard a lot of the feedback as well in how I should approach reading One Piece, and again, I'm still such a One Piece beginner that I do need the help, so leaving all the comments down below really does help me out. But the one piece of feedback there's going to be so many bad One Piece jokes coming up, I'm sure, but the one piece of feedback that was the most prevalent was that I should read One Piece by arc. So instead of reviewing them by a complete saga volume by volume, I'm going to go by arc. I'll get through arcs so much quicker than complete sagas, so that I can upload these kinds of vlogs more frequently instead of just doing maybe one a month. I can start doing these, but maybe like every 2 weeks? I don't know. Actually, does that work out? Does that actually work out? There's a lot of arcs. I don't think that works out. Let me deal with the finer details, okay? I obviously haven't thought anything through. Let's just agree that I'll be reading them by arc, and then I will be reviewing chapter by chapter. So I will still do a sort of reading vlog format for my One Piece videos and come to you after I finished each chapter and tell you what I thought on it. But it is super late, so I've made a hot chocolate and I'm ready to dive into bed and read. So now I'm reading the Reverse Mountain arc. This is the arc that I will be reading in this vlog. A lot of people said to savour it, enjoy the story, take it as it comes. My compulsion to finish the series right there and then is strong. I literally just read the entire Walking Dead comic book series from beginning to end in like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And that's 32 volumes. And I need some happiness after that as well. That series tore my heart out. And I'm sure One Piece will do the same, but I'm sure I won't tear my heart out with a Reverse Mountain arc. I hope. Unless I get some really sad backstory, then I am screwed. But the Reverse Mountain arc does cover chapters 101 through 105, so I only have, I can't even count, 5 chapters. I have 5 chapters to read to complete the arc. And that's just like amazing. That's so good. I'm so excited. And in terms of what the Reverse Mountain arc is part of, in terms of sagas, this is part of the Alabasta saga. Or is it Arabasta? I've seen Alabasta and Araba. Okay, right. I want to be asking so many questions. Okay, this is my first question. Is it Arabasta or Alabasta? Because I've seen both. I know you guys said don't go on the One Piece wiki, and I promise I'm not going on it, apart from right now. But this is really just to see what it is. I'm gonna have to message Murphy. Murphy said I can go to her for any and all questions. Okay, Murphy has put Alabasta on YouTube, so what Murphy says goes in my eyes. It's the Alabasta arc. I'm gonna go into chapter 101 and read the out of One Piece. And if you don't know as well, I bought all 100 volumes of One Piece. So if you just watched my East Blue Saga review and then came here, you will have seen I had the omnibus editions of the first 12 volumes, and I was saying, oh, I'm gonna have to try and get the rest of the omnibus editions, blah blah blah. Well, pretty much the next day I bought all 100 of them on eBay. And I do have an unboxing of them. I will leave a link to that down in the description box as well. I also have a straw hat. It doesn't even really fit on my head. But yeah, I'm gonna have to try and get one that's larger than this, because this is not right. This is not right. It just doesn't fit on my head. It's too small. But yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. Let's dive into chapter 101 of One Piece. I love staying up past my bedtime. It's my favourite. My bedtime is usually 4 AM anyway. God, it's so good to be back with characters. Ooh. I'm not going to rate each chapter because I feel like it's weird to rate a chapter. So I'm not going to do like ratings for chapters. I will rate the entire arc though when I finish. Before I actually talk about the chapter, I got a few comments about, you know, the stories that are in the chapter title pages. So I went back and after reading those comments, I went back through the volumes that I'd read and looked at the title pages for each chapter and went through the story that way, and that was like really, really fun actually. This one, it is just about Colby really. Colby and Helmeppo, so that's a really cool touch too. There's also a question corner in each volume too. The one at the end of chapter 101 somebody submits a tongue twister and they challenge Order to do this tongue twister. So I want to try it myself. It says, try saying these words 3 times. Akatako ashikikin. Akatako, I can't even say it the once. Kita koashikikin. Chitako ashikikin. Kitako ashikikin. Chitako ashikikin. Akata asho chicken. I'm not going to do that anymore. Chapter 101. So we have our protagonists. We have Luffy. We have Nami. We have... I'm getting their character names back. We have Zoro. We have Usopp. So I was calling him Usopp in my East Blue Saga review. I apologise. Usopp. It is Usopp. So I'm going to try and say that. But you know when you first say a name and it sticks in your head? Like before I saw the films, I used to call Hermione Hermione. So it was kind of hard to get out of that. So if I accidentally slip up and say Usopp, then I will smack myself later, don't you worry. But Usopp. So yeah, in this one we have our gang. They are on their ship and they're trying to get to the Grand Line, right? They have this map that they got from Buggy the Clown. And don't worry, I did get an earful of Murphy for not enjoying Buggy the Clown. But they do still have that map. And Nami is reading it. She is the navigator. So she says that the Grand Line, the entrance to the Grand Line, is up a mountain. And that's so crazy. Like going up a mountain to go to the entrance to the Grand Line. It's so imaginative. I would honestly love to see that portrayed. So I definitely will be checking out the anime at some point. I just think that's just like such a crazy concept. But yeah, they are in a storm and they come out of the storm. And I love the humour between them. Because when they get out of the storm, with Nami being the one who is kind of in control of the ship almost. Like she's not driving the ship. What do you call it? Driving? Would you say driving the ship? Steering the ship? Yeah, she's not steering the ship. But she is telling them which direction to go and stuff. So they get out of a storm and Nami tells them, oh, we're on this calm belt. And they need to get back into the storm. And everyone's like, why? The weather's beautiful here, you know? And everyone's questioning her. I just love how she's just like, do what I tell you. Do what I tell you. Nami's taking control. I love it. And she's like, lower the sails and start rowing. And they're like, row? Don't you know this is a sail ship? And it turns out in this calm belt, there is a nest of Neptunians. And they are sea monsters. They're huge. And in the panic, Zoro says, now listen, when these guys go under again, we roll like mad. And everyone's like, got it. And even though they've just told Nami, row a ship, don't you know how to sail a ship? Like, that's not what you do. But as soon as something like this happens, they realize, oh, Nami's in charge, really. We need to do what Nami says because we're getting ourselves in trouble by not listening to her. And then they say, right, we need to roll the ship. It's so funny. I giggled when I read that. So they're trying to get out of this mess that they've just got themselves in. And Luffy's like, turn right. And Usopp's like, don't you mean starboard? You can really tell just how amateur these guys are at sailing a ship. I mean, yes, they all have their strengths, but you really do see the way that they each have to step in and take the reins at the things that they're good at, while everybody else questions what they do. It's so funny. It doesn't give me the biggest hope that they're going to achieve their dreams. Because at the minute, they do seem like they have a long way to go to get the knowledge and the skills needed to find this One Piece. And I am excited for that journey. We have the four seas converging. They're making this sort of wave thing up the mountain so that the ship can go up it. And then they have to go off at a certain point to go through the entrance to the Grand Line. And we end the chapter with them getting into the Grand Line. I'm actually really surprised. Well, we end the chapter with Luffy saying, I say the Grand Line. So they're not like quite in, but they're going in. They're going into the Grand Line. I wasn't actually sure how long it would take to get to the Grand Line. I'm surprised it's this early. I don't know. I thought maybe it would take a bit longer. However, we have just completed East Blue. And East Blue is a section of the map, essentially. And I'm thinking of this like a video game. And, you know, we've ticked off one area and we're going on to the next. So now they've ended the Grand Line. I'm so excited. Chapter 101 was great. Lots of stuff happening. They're on their way from misery to happiness today. How do people review chapters? It's weird because I've only ever known how to review a full book. Never just a chapter. This is weird to me. I'm learning so much on my One Piece journey. And I've already finished my hot chocolate. And the rest of my hot chocolate is quite cold now, so I'm not making another one. It's now 1 a.m. Let's soldier on. We kind of have a little bit of a Pinocchio Monstro moment in the second chapter. Well, the 102nd chapter of One Piece, called And Now the Grand Line. They've gone up the mountain and they're coming down the other side to enter the Grand Line, but there is this huge whale blocking the way, and they can't really get around it, and Luffy ends up shooting a cannon at it, and everyone's like, you idiot, like, why did you do that? And I remember mentioning in the East Blue Saga review, where I said, I think it was during my Volume 1 review, saying that Luffy was a smart man. I sure am eating my words. He is something else. And I realised that by the end of the East Blue Saga, I really did. But I didn't go back and correct myself. Luffy is not the smartest. He is not the sharpest tool in the shed. And it seems like he ends up riling up this whale, and he shoots a cannon at it, and he gets really pissed off that his seat breaks, and this whale thing starts lowering, and its eye is directly in front of it, so Luffy punches it in the eye. And the reactions of everyone else, they're like, you know what, they're probably thinking, and even Nami says, like, I want to go home, they're probably thinking, shit, like, what have we got ourselves into? We're gonna die on this adventure. We're gonna die with Luffy. It's gonna happen. I do not know if I would get on the same ship as Luffy, in all honesty. I mean, I'd love to. He's a great character. He's so funny. I love his personality, but I don't think I could get on the same ship as him. I genuinely don't think I could. So the ship ends up inside of this whale with Luffy on the outside, and Luffy's trying to get in. And I love when Luffy says, just a damn minute, give me back my friends. We're all going on an adventure. I need them. It reminds me of when, I think it was during the Cyrib Village arc, when Luffy just stands up and tells the two guys who were conspiring to kill another character. When I tell you about character names, I genuinely mean it. But if you're watching this, you know who I mean. But Luffy stands up and he's like, don't kill her. And it's like, they're not going to listen to you. They're not just going to not do it just because you ask them to. Although actually it would be hilarious if maybe further down the road he does tell one of the villains not to do it and they just don't do it. Like, that would be hilarious. But yeah, he shouts that at the whale. It's heartwarming. It is really heartwarming that he is like, we're going on an adventure, give me back my friends and stuff. It's just, it feels so childish in a way, but so innocent. But anyway, inside this whale, it seems like there is an island, or like, yeah, when you're inside it, it looks like they're not inside the whale, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not what you would expect going inside a whale. Like, there is like a little island with a cabin, some kind of shack. There's that house on an island. There is a Neptunian squid, and Luffy also finds a door on this whale and goes inside it, and there are corridors. And now this is extremely interesting. We end the chapter with a bit of a cliffhanger. Someone's coming. It's a house. So I'm very interested to see what this whale is. Is there some kind of guardian of this Grand Line? And they're going to have to like pass a test maybe in order to actually enter the Grand Line properly. I don't know. Because it does seem like just going up a mountain and going down the other side is maybe a little bit too easy to get into the Grand Line. I feel like there has to be some kind of trial or some more hardship to get there. We'll see. But it was a good chapter. I enjoyed it. Not much else to say about it. You know how we usually get backstories in the previous volumes where there would be kind of like the pages were almost blacked out and you would be able to tell. Let's see if I can find an example. Like, you can tell this is backstory because of the black pages. And there isn't any black pages in chapter 103, The Whale, but we do get some backstory on the actual whale, and it's actually quite sad. Like, even the whale gets a heart-wrenching backstory too. When am I going to get a break? It seems like the smallest of sort of secondary characters are even getting soppy backstories. So we do find out more about Laboon, which is this whale, and we do have a man living in that house on the island inside of the whale, and we have our shipmates. Luffy at this point is separated from them still, and he's going through seemingly like these corridors of this whale, and we have the rest of them on the ship, and they come across this man. This man is hilarious. I feel like I say that about every single character we come across. Zoro, he like demands to know who he is. And this man says, my name is Crocus, I'm the keeper of the Twin Capes Lighthouse, I'm 71, a Gemini, and my blood type is AB. It's just, he really winds Zoro up. I don't know if Crocus is his real name. It sounds like a crock of shit, but I don't know, maybe it is his real name. But as we find out in the backstory, so sad. This whale, he once followed a ship over the reverse mountain and came down into the Grand Line behind the ship, and these pirates sort of took it in. Laboon had attached itself to the pirates. The pirates needed repairs on the ship, but after repairs were done, they went off to circumnavigate the world and left Laboon behind in the care of this lighthouse keeper, Crocus. Apparently, that's not his real name, is it? And then this man says, but it's been 50 years. It's been 50 years since they left poor Laboon behind, and he's still waiting for the pirates to return. Isn't that so heartbreaking? Isn't that... it's a little bit like that dog we met who still waited at the pet shop waiting for his owner to return. That was so sad too. We have really sad animal backstories, don't we? Meanwhile, Luffy meets two mysterious people inside this whale. We have Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday. And they're just in there to get the meat of this whale so that they can feed their village for like 2 or 3 years. But this lighthouse keeper is protecting this whale. So I don't really know what's going to happen with them next. It kind of cut quite short, those characters. They do come flying through a door of the whale, so Luffy is now reunited with his team, his friends. Yeah, now they're back together again. I'm so happy. I hate when they're apart. They deserve to be together forever. Together forever. At the end of this volume, there is a question that was submitted to Order, and it talks about Boogie the Clown and how he comes apart, and they ask, does that go for all of his parts? And his answer is yes, that goes for all of his body parts. I'll leave my chapter 103 review right there. Although that wasn't really a review. It was just me recounting what happened in this chapter. I'm liking the whale. What can I say? I like the whale. That is my review. Oh, for God's sake. It's a whale. It's a whale. Oh, poor Laboon. Oh. So we do actually get more backstory in this about Laboon, the whale. And it's so sad. Why am I smiling? We find out that these pirates abandoned Laboon, like, purposefully. They left the Grand Line. They're not coming back. And Crocus did tell Laboon this, but Laboon wouldn't listen. And that's why he's got so many marks on his head, is because he keeps ramming the red line. And if he keeps doing that, if he keeps hurting himself, he will eventually die. Why is that so deep? We're still so early in the series in context with everything else. Why am I getting this now? Oh. About the pirates that abandoned Laboon. When Crocus says he'll be waiting for them till the end of time. Oh. Crocus also tells us that Laboon's home is the West Blue, and those pirates were his only way of getting home. And that's just like another kick in the crotch. And then I was confused by Luffy, because then he starts beating the whale. And then when the whale like blasts Luffy back, Luffy's like, I'll be back in a year to fight you. And in that promise of coming back, even if it is to incite violence, makes Laboon happy. It makes Laboon so happy. And that made me happy. That was so sweet. Luffy better come back. He better come back and save Laboon, because if he doesn't, and he breaks that poor whale's heart again, me and Luffy are going to be having words. I won't wait to get it. Kick Luffy's arse, I'll tell you that. Not that I could kick anyone's arse. I'm weak. But I imagine that's the end of the whale storyline. The next chapter is called Log Pause. And we have more of Kobe and Helmet Boar's Chronicle of Toil. Volume 19, Morgan Alone. It's just so cool. I just love the details of stuff like this. You know, getting a window into a different kind of story that's happening away from the main story. And even just the question corners as well. Only one chapter left of the Reverse Mountain arc. It flew by. Wow, I could probably read like 15 arcs in one night. I'm not gonna, because I need to sleep. What the fuck? Sorry for my language as well. Right, at the very end, I will go through what happened, but at the very end, when Crocker says goodbye to everyone, he says, well, first he says, could that bunch be the pirates we've been waiting for all this time? That boy has a strange air about him. Roger? Like, Roger? Is in Gold Roger? The pirate lord who was executed at the very start of the series, who set about this great era of piracy and hid the One Piece? But is he talking to the whale? Is the whale's real name actually Roger and not Laboon? I'm so confused. Who is he talking to? Who is he talking to? But that's so interesting. We're actually having some like really great world building in this chapter as well. We hear about what the chapter is actually called, the log pause. So apparently the region has abnormal magnetic fields. So each place has its own laws when it comes to magnetic fields. So compasses and things don't really work. They need a log pause. And Nami didn't know this. We don't blame you, Nami. It's fine. I didn't know this either. But if they're going to say the Grand Line, they need a log pause. Unfortunately, Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday dropped theirs so that they have it. Just like that. They have a log pause. I mean, it's funny because I don't think I've ever mentioned that Sanji has like this love for women, like a huge deep love for women, and every single woman he meets, he pretty much flirts with them, he hits on them, and he made Nami some food, and Luffy eats it, and Sanji kicks him and breaks the log pose. So I was like, oh, they just got it and they broke it. Wow, okay. But then, fortunately, Crocus has his own, so we have a lot of coincidences here. But I said in my East Blue Saga review, even though sometimes I have to suspend my disbelief, I'm embracing the absurdity of this series. I feel like I have to. If I'm going to be entertained and thrilled by it, then I need to just embrace the weirdness of it, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Oh, the very start of the chapter though, oh, this is so sweet, but Luffy draws his really silly Jolly Roger symbol thing. He's not a good drawer at all, but it's so cute and funny, and he draws it on Laboon's head where he has all of those marks from bashing the red line, and Luffy says that's our contract, so don't ruin it, don't destroy it by the time that he gets there. So that means Laboon can't, you know, ram the red line anymore, which means he won't further harm himself. It's so sweet, it's so nice and so lovely. It's just like such a fine detail, and I feel like with the length of the series, it's probably something that isn't going to amount, well, I don't know, I don't want to say never. It could actually be something that is important later on. Laboon, this contract, it could be something that becomes important later on, but it just feels like almost anything can be important. You know, there are so many finer details that I think a lot of stuff might come back. It might not, but even if it doesn't, I feel like that detail has just made this world that much more richer. So now they've set off with this log pose. So now they're heading to Whiskey Peak. So Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday, they, after, you know, losing their log piece to our gang, the Straw Hats, they've been gone too long, and this mysterious sea otter, Mr. 13, and mysterious vulture, Miss Friday, swoop down and kind of attack them. And as they're being attacked, Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine say, we'll explain everything to the boss, we didn't betray him. So there's something else that's happening here. It seems like there might be another villain coming up that have something to do with Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday. And I don't know what that entails. I don't know their deal or anything, but it's going to be really interesting to find out what all that's about. But they are heading to Whiskey Peak now. The Straw Hats are helping Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday get back to Whiskey Peak, because Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday don't have their log pose, so they need help getting back home. And Crocus says something about not trusting them or don't help them, but Luffy's like, we're gonna help them. So we'll see where that leads. So they're heading to Whiskey Peak now, but I'm not reading chapter 106 because I believe that's the start of the next arc, which is probably called the Whiskey Peak arc. Let me just double check. If it is, I am good. I am just as smart as Luffy. Come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Oh, Whiskey Peak arc. Yay. And that is chapters 106 through 114. So that will be the next arc that I read. So that was a really good chapter. I feel like we ended the arc with a really, really strong chapter with, you know, more possibilities, more world building, a really touching moment between Luffy and Laboon, and really interesting stuff with Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine. I don't know if we'll say much of them. I don't know if they're going to be important later on. You know, there's just so many questions I have, which is why I can't wait to read the next arc. But anyway, I feel like because I haven't ranked or rated any of the previous arcs, because I just did the East Blue Saga as one whole entity and I rated each volume, I'm going to go back and rate each arc individually so that I can rate this arc, and I will put it on the screen. I don't know my ratings just yet, but I do know that I would give the Reverse Mountain arc, I think maybe 6 out of 10. I'm going to rate these out of 10. And I felt it was like really good. Loved Laboon. It was dripping with adventure. It was dripping with so much possibility, and I maybe when I've read all of the arcs I might change ratings. I'm still finding my feet with rating One Piece and what I enjoy and love in the series, so maybe upon a reread I will change my rating, but as it stands my initial instinct is a 6 out of 10. And even though I'm saying 6 out of 10, like, just my love for One Piece is just growing so exponentially, and I don't even know if that's the right way of saying it, that I just like want to give everything 100. I just want to give it 100 out of 10. Oh, I just love the world. I love Luffy. I love the characters. I do. It's so good. As you can tell, I've fallen so hard. I've fallen so hard. I'm looking at all of my One Piece volumes right now and I'm thinking, you sexy motherfuckers. Wait until I get to each and every one of you. Just wait until I get to each and every one of you bitches. But yes, please do stick around to see more ARC reviews. It's so weird just doing an ARC. But I don't know how this went. This is new to me. I don't know how this ARC review went. Is this a good format? Is reviewing the ARC and doing it chapter by chapter a good format? I don't know. I don't know how this is working. So growing pains. This is growing pains. But leave all the comments down below. Let me know your feedback. What did you think of the vlog? What did you think of the Reverse Mountain arc? Let me know your favourite moments. What do you think of Laboon? I'd love to know what you think of Laboon. And also, do you think I will enjoy the Whiskey Peak arc as well? No spoilers. Again, no spoilers after this point, please. But yeah, will I enjoy Whiskey Peak? Let me know your predictions on whether or not I enjoy the Whiskey Peak arc. But that is the end of this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. There will definitely be more One Piece reviews on my channel, so keep an eye out for those. Again, leave all the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts, anything and everything on One Piece and the Reverse Mountain arc. I'm going to give a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel and making content like this possible. If you'd like to join my Patreon or follow me on any social media, then all the links are down in the description box. But yeah, that is the end of the video, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.